everybody. We are back. It is Safe to Last Favorites podcast. Favorites channel. Favorites everything. We are back. You guys already know what to do. Hit the subscribe button. Subscribe. Hit the like button if you like it. Hit the dislike button if you don't like it. Leave a comment. If you like it, leave a comment. If you don't like it, also follow us on Twitter at the Mark John NFL for me, at mholder95 for Matt, and of course, pandasubs.com. Discount code TDL for 25% off all your protein needs from pandasubs.com. All right, so we're going to finish up free agency since they really haven't signed anybody else. So we're going to wrap up free agency here and get right back to the draft. But
no, what are you talking about, bro? Darnay Holmes is back.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Darnay Holmes, yeah. You got to have someone play the slot.
Yeah. Well, I think they're definitely going to draft somebody. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
I'd rather have Malachi Moore play the slot than
Malachi Moore, Malachi Starks, someone else.
Somebody named Malachi. I don't know. Anybody. Yeah, because Holmes was awful every time he played last year. So I don't get it. I don't get that. But whatever.
I think it's go ahead. I was just gonna say it's just familiarity with Graham because he was there. Part of the reason why they brought him on last year was because he was there at the end of Graham's tenure with the Giants. And again, like right now, like I think their starting nickel would probably be, maybe Jacorian Bennett plays the nickel and you put Richardson on the outside, or Thomas Harper, who has experience doing it did it in college at Notre Dame and Oklahoma State. But yeah, I think it was just more of a let's at least get somebody before this gets too bad. But yeah, I think you're right. I think they're gonna be looking at these slot corners in the draft pretty heavily.
Yeah, or these slot corner safety type guys,
yeah.
But that's why I mentioned Malachi Moore, because he played slot corner for 3 years, and this last year he played free safety. So
gotcha.
he has some what I would say versatility. So he's very versatile. So he's the type of guy that they would like. So there's just some slot corners they're gonna be looking at. That's why people talk about Johnny Barron, man, you can't draft a slot corner at 6. I don't know.
When you don't have anyone, you can. Yeah. I'd say too, Starks is kind of the same way of the majority of his really nice plays in coverage are when he's actually covering the slot. So, and there do seem to be a decent amount of options, at least in the draft, but definitely a hole right now.
Because I was watching Xavier Watts too. He could play in the slot too.
Yeah.
So there's some good safeties that can play in the slot. So they have some options there if they want to do that. But it's just, man, they're definitely drafting some guy who could come in and play in the slot that they really like. So
yeah,
this could be one of those things, I believe. But how that goes so far. Just because it hasn't been nothing exciting. That's why we're doing Eric Stokes and Elandon Roberts today, which I know that gets the fans going. Maybe Elandon Roberts does, but I don't know if Eric Stokes does. But that's what we're doing today. Really nothing else to talk about, really. Geno Smith's got his signing bonus, but that extension's kind of just died down a little bit. We haven't heard any talks about that, so
yeah,
nothing else to talk about.
Imagine 1 and 2 are related, but it is weird that they haven't done his press conference yet, and they haven't given them the extension. It seemed like I don't know, maybe I read this wrong. Maybe you had a different perspective, Marcus. Yeah. But it seemed like when they traded for him, it was the extension is going to be imminent, and that was 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago at this stage. So I'm like, all right, was this gonna happen? I thought this was supposed to be simple. I know he got traded without having the deal in place, obviously, but it definitely seems like it's taking longer than we would expect. Which, with the Raiders' history, especially at quarterback, that just sends off alarm signals in my brain that something might not be right now. So
see, I didn't even think about that. I thought he did his press conference already.
No, he hasn't had it yet.
That's
that's I know it's not it's just my doomsday spiraling, but I just think of Jimmy Garoppolo, the whole god damn it, I'm gonna be scarred for years and whenever a press conference is delayed, especially with a quarterback, it's just gonna be oh shit, not again.
Yeah, super interesting because they had all the other guys already.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, they all the free agent signings Chin. I think Roberts spoke to Johnson. All those dudes are already in. But yeah, I'm assuming it's that they're waiting to dot the I's and cross the T's on the extension before doing the presser. But it is weird that it seemed like this is gonna be a done deal. This is what's gonna happen, and then here we are 2 weeks later, and we're sitting here all right, is he gonna be under contract for more than this year, or is this looking like it's maybe not quite as simple of a deal as we thought it was going to be?
Yeah. How much are they trying to be tied to him is probably the issue. I bet. Like the years of the deal is. I bet.
Need money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that could be. I could see that being the holdup.
Yeah. Because that's what you got to decide. I mean, is it you get to guarantee him 2 years? You guarantee him 1 year? Like, what's your plan? Are you going to draft a quarterback? That's what, so I don't know, man. We'll see how that goes. Because that's super interesting. I literally thought he did his press conference and I just didn't pay attention to it. I assumed because they did everybody else's. Didn't even think about that. All right. So let's get into who has done press conferences. Eric Stokes and Elandon Roberts. So Matt's doing it's an all defensive show today. There's no offense, guys. So we're doing Elandon Roberts and Eric Stokes. I think Roberts has a better chance of starting than Stokes does.
Yeah.
But what were your thoughts on Elandon Roberts from watching this film?
Yeah. So to address a little bit of the negative from the jump, like the coverage is not there. Like the Steelers, I don't know if I watched a rep of him on third down unless it was third and short, basically. Like, it was pretty much like passing situation, you're off the field, buddy. Like get out of there. And it was weird. It was like when I watched him, I'm like, I assumed going into it, like the issue is going to be more athletically, especially with him being like 30 and whatnot. But I actually think he's a decent athlete. His bigger problem is more like awareness and coverage. Like there was like one play where like him and Queen followed the same guy and left Travis Kelce wide open in the middle of the field. Another where like he just had no awareness and like that some dude was in his area and zone and stuff like that. So it was kind of weird. I'm like, man, you're a veteran, and that seemed to me to be the bigger issue of him in coverage, which is weird again because he's been around for a while. But I'll tell you what the dude can do. He can run through a freaking brick wall for you. Like we'll see a few of these clips. Like he takes on blocks like you would expect, like the old 80s linebackers like Matt Millen used to, where he just puts his head down and tries to go through people's face. And I tell you what, man, he's big and strong enough to be able to do it. Like we'll see a couple of reps of him going up against Creed Humphrey where he gave Creed Humphrey a run for his money. And that's going to be the exciting part of his game, is he has that kind of like old school Raider linebacker mentality of like, I'm just going to hit you as hard as I can and run straight downhill. And he's also got some good instincts against the run. Does have a few ways like to beat blocks, but besides just being a bull in the china shop, so to speak. But had a couple reps where he used a nice little rip move and made some guys miss. And the other thing I noticed too about his game that I like, that he mirrors running backs pretty well. Like that's what I'm talking about. Like where he has decent like lateral movement skills and is a decent athlete, and he anticipates where the hole is going to be, which I think being a veteran and being an older guy kind of obviously helps out there too. So dude who in what he does is pretty damn good. It's just kind of limited in his overall skill set, where he can be, again, like we would expect, a really damn good run defending linebacker. But which is what we're going to focus on for the majority of or for all of our clips today. So yeah, definitely a fun player to watch on film. He's going to give us a few good moments this year too, with some big hits.
Yeah, he's a hitter. That's one thing I noticed when I watched him on film, is that he could just knock your head off, and it's gonna, you're gonna feel that impact of him hitting you. And he's gonna, he just plays with no remorse. I'm surprised he doesn't get hurt a lot, because how reckless he plays. But it reminds me of something like BD's talk about how in Patrick Graham's system, the linebacker usually, he likes linebackers that play downhill. And he always talk about how Denzel Perryman was going to get hurt, and that happened. And and there's the type of guy that Elandon Roberts is, where he just play downhill and take on blocks, and that's the type of linebacker that Patrick Graham actually likes. So, but you're right, you can't play him 3 downs. So yeah, that's why I still think they're going to do something else. The linebacker, that's probably why they got Christian Ellis coming in, because he can play coverage a little bit.
Yeah.
So, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. That's not gonna get it fans excited doing a Christian Ellis breakdown, Matt. So.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll do that one. I don't know if that's gonna be quite worth it. No offense to Christian Ellis if you're watching this, Christian.
Yeah. No offense, Christian. If you sign and you go sign on YouTube, you look at Raiders content.
Yeah, you're just sitting there looking for it on the channel.
No offense. Sorry, dog. All right. I did Eric Stokes. Now, Eric Stokes is an interesting player because I think he has 2 different corners. In press coverage, he's not bad. press coverage. He's not bad. He gets those long arms on you. He's very athletic, so he can stick with you, and he's very fast. So you just can't really run past him, especially he's a strong player too. So he's be able to, get his hands on you. He has some good reps against DK Metcalf on the show in press coverage. It's just in off coverage. He is like, I don't know what it is about his transitions and things like that, but he's just like awkward. It's like he's always like moving backwards before he goes forwards, and it's always like 2 steps backwards, and then he's like falling a lot. He falls a lot, which is something interesting. I don't know if that's a cleat thing or I don't know. He's gonna be falling twice in this film that I'm just showing. So,
gotcha.
And there's some other times where I didn't put it into when he's like just falls. And I started like, bro, like I don't know what kind of cleats you got. We need to get that figured out. But it's like, that's what I'm saying. Like, he gets real awkward because he tackles okay. He tackles pretty well. And like I said, in press coverage, he can get it done. It's just, I mean, you just can't play press like every single down. You got to play off sometimes. And like Matthew Stafford at the end of the Rams game was like, I'm throwing at Eric Stokes. And they almost came back off that, just that formula. Yeah. Like, I was watching it because I was looking at the targets. PFF, he had 10 targets for seven catches in that game. And I was like, I got to there's like 15 minutes left in the film. I'm like, where's these targets at? and then it happened. Matthew Stafford's like, I'm just throwing over here to Eric Stokes. And he just boom, 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 boom. They went right down the field, scored a touchdown, 24-19. And they almost came back. So that can kind of tell you that you don't want Eric Stokes as your starter.
Yeah.
And because the guys, that was without Nakua and Cooper Kupp in that game.
Okay.
He's getting worked. So, yeah. But if you can get, like I said, if you get him in press coverage and he could be one of those press guys, he'll be fine. It's just, you just can't do that all game. So yeah, it's like he becomes a little bit of a liability in off coverage just because he's a little awkward. It's weird. It's weird to watch.
And part of the problem too, like when you're so reliant on press coverage, like you're gonna lose in press sometimes. Like it's just gonna happen. It's just the nature of the game. The problem is when you lose in press coverage, unless you can recover, like you are screwed and giving up touchdowns usually because you typically don't have a ton of help behind you. Whereas like an off, like you can stumble or whatever and you can still recover and at least, limit the damage. So I think that's a big part of it too, is like if you're that type of all or nothing player, like it's a risk. And I mean, you kind of touched on it a little bit too, like when you're talking about with the Rams game where they just started going after him. Like part of the issue, or part of my concern when the Raiders signed him is I remember last year, like the Packers needed cornerback help. Like Keyshawn Nixon was kicking out outside, who had normally been playing over the slot for them and doing pretty well in the nickel role. Like they ended up moving him out wide and benched Eric Stokes while Jair Alexander was injured, had that mysterious injury for the entire year. So as soon as I saw that, that's usually not a good sign when your team is looking for help at your position, and on top of it, and you're part of the reason why they are. Which again, that's hence why you got the 1 year, $4 million contract in free agency and as a second contract. But yeah, that's part of my concern is like, I don't know, or that's where I'm at with him, where I'm not expecting much from him. Like if he cracks the starting lineup, I mean, maybe he has some sort of career revival, but that's probably not a good sign for the way things are going in the Raiders cornerback room. Ideally, you'd have Ja'Cory Bennett, Jack Jones, or Cameron Richardson above Stokes on the depth chart.
Yeah, I might play him over Richardson just because I feel like a little safer with him. But yeah, he's not going to beat out Jack. Jack Jones should be cut if he loses his job to Eric Stokes. That's how I'm gonna go into this film. Right, let's do some Elandon Roberts. Let's start with some Roberts here. Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna start here with a couple of the reps. What I was talking about from the jump, where he can just kind of run through a guy's face, and like you can see just the power he has. Like these first two aren't exactly they don't technically impact the play that much because we're gonna see T.J. Watt and I think is it Benton maybe. Those two guys end up winning. Oh no, excuse me, Highsmith on the other edge. Those two guys end up winning. So what Roberts does in the middle, it doesn't make that big of a difference. But what you can see, and what I'm going to set up for in here in a couple more clips, is just the power at the point of attack to kind of take on offensive linemen and then reset the line of scrimmage. Like see on this one, does a great job getting low and getting into Jawan Taylor's chest. And I mean, Taylor, granted, it's because of the mess at the pile at the line of scrimmage, but Taylor ends up on the ground, which is going to be a common theme here. Similar rep again here. This time we're going up against Tooney. Again, not the doesn't impact the play that much on this one specifically. But again, you can see like just the knockback power and how he's able to get underneath the guy's pads and then win at the point of attack. But this next clip is going to be my favorite. I'm just going to let it play for a second.
Good. Wow. Good Lord.
Creed Humphrey is probably one of the better centers in the NFL. Got paid. I think he's one of the highest paid, if not the highest paid. And my God, boom. Like, I think he gets air at some point. Yeah, both feet are off the ground. And again, this is where it becomes a little more functional, especially down here on the goal line, where he can just stick it to a guy and end up clogging up that hole. And then that's what helps Hayward and 57. I don't know, is that Adams? Gaines Adams? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Not 100% sure who that is, but end up making the play. So again, they can be functional and also a lot of fun to watch because that is an ass-kicking way to take on a block. And you're not going to see that a lot from a lot of current linebackers. And this one, kind of the same thing. Like, just, again, gives it to Creed Humphrey at the point of attack, just gives him a nice little pop. It ends up plugging up the gap here for Kareem Hunt. But what I did want to point out about this clip, too, is like you'll see Hunt ends up getting like 5 yards after contact on this.
Mm-hmm.
And this is kind of my worry with linebackers that play like this style. Like, at this point, yes, we're winning at the point of attack. Again, Creed Humphrey's on his toes, and we're resetting the line of scrimmage. But it is difficult to get off the block at this stage because you're like going straight through the offensive lineman's chest versus being a little bit more on the edge where he can escape and be able to make the play.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're doing that and no one else is getting off their block, like right here, we got 99 blocked up, and then Benton here blocked up as well. That's where running backs can kind of just keep on pushing through, and the good ones will just kind of bury their head down and still end up picking up yards. So
yeah,
that's where I get a little bit concerned with guys like this. But again, you can get those reps like we saw against Creed Humphrey before, where he ends up making the play. And like on this one, same type of style of taking on the block, again, winning, but you see he's a little bit more on the edge.
Mm-hmm.
He's able to escape and get involved in the play. Now, again, 99 does a much better job, too, of beating Juwan Taylor. The waste of money that Taylor is.
Mm-hmm.
And escaping on there, too. But I like this rep almost a little bit better than the one we just watched, even though it's not as physically dominant, because Roberts is in a position where he can get off this block and then go make that tackle versus covering himself up. Now transition a little bit. This is a little what I was talking about, where he can like mirror and anticipate where the gap's going to be against the run. Like you're going to see him like believe it's going to be a little inside zone, maybe mid zone by the Ravens, where the whole line's going to flow to the left. But the Steelers do a pretty good job of plugging it up. And if you watch Roberts, like what he does, he's actually moving and cutting to the backside before Henry is, right? Henry's still reading the play, and he's working to the backside here because he realizes, like, hey, we've got all this covered up. Where I'm going to be able to make the tackle is working to the outside and to the backside. And on top of it, beats Ricard's block with a nice little rip move and goes and gets involved in the tackle. Also new, too, he has a Queen to help on the inside. Mm-hmm. Just a little bit of being a veteran and having some instincts. What were you saying, Marcus?
Oh, that's a nice play by Queen, too.
Yeah. I was a big fan of Queen last year. Wish he would have came over, but it's what it is. Mm-hmm. Similar rep here, just on the backside again. Now, it's not a great block by Falele, but again, just a nice rip move, showing a little more of how he can defeat blocks versus just trying to go through someone's chest and be able to make plays. So that is the nice thing too, is like he does have other ways he can win besides just running through a guy's face. This one, more than anything, was just effort, but like the same kind of thing. Outside run, which not quite his forte. Obviously, as you can imagine, more of a between the tackles type of guy. But again, just take on the block from the tight end here, keep fighting, eventually shed, and hey, look who ends up preventing the first down. Get a couple missed tackles here. Someone needs to go clean it up. So again, just another way he can defeat blocks and work over the top and stuff like that. Getting into more of his IQ here, similar to what I was talking about with Henry, like just the way he matches Isaiah Pacheco's path here against the zone run, like because again, this was not Creed Humphrey's best game as he loses it on the swim move against Hayward there. But if you watch Roberts, like he does a great job of initially stepping to the play side and then just kind of following Pacheco's path to be able to get an unblocked tackle or get involved in the tackle as an unblocked defender. Similar one here. This is pretty similar to the one we saw earlier against Henry, but again, just staying home on the backside against this inside zone. And as you can see, like as soon as he starts to see Henry cut it back, he's already working that way too, defeat the block, and then make a nice, perfect form tackle. I mean, that's how you bring down 250-pound back right there.
Yeah.
Drop the pads and wrap up. This one's going to be a little bit more of a read from Roberts. And what I like about this play too is the Ravens are giving him some eye candy here, where like they're going to kind of sell like a split zone here by having Ricard work across like he's split like on a split zone block, and he's going to go kick out TJ Watt. But really what it is just counter, right? The guard and the tackler are going to end up pulling, but that emotion initially is going to get Roberts going this way, or he reads it and is reading his keys and he sees sees the two pullers and isn't fooled. And that allows him to just beat Andrews to the front side here and avoid getting blocked, and then make the tackle in the hole. Again, see it one more time. Like once he sees those two pullers, just go run and chase and go make the play. Be the last clip here. Now, 79 here ends up falling on his face. Ronnie Stanley ends up on the ground. But again, just another great job of Roberts reading the play, and once he sees the gap, shooting it and going and make the tackle. That's the one thing that I do like about his game and about his instincts is like, yes, he ends up shooting this gap pretty quickly, but like if you notice from the other clips, it's not like he just runs straight downhill all the time. Exactly. Like he'll wait for it to open up and then go down and attack it. So yeah. So again, a guy that I think that's a smart run defender, knows when to pick his spots to come downhill and get on block tackles. And then on top of it, like I said, he can run through your face, man. He's not someone you want to see when you're climbing up to the second level and he's coming downhill. So yeah, being interesting to see how Patrick Graham uses him. I would expect him to blitz him quite often from the second level because of those first 5 clips that we saw where he could just be game wrecker in the trenches.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how he uses them too. Yeah, because like you said at the beginning, I mean, the Steelers didn't use him on passing downs at all, really. I mean, unless they had to, and there's too many guys hurt, you know. But yeah, against the run, he's solid, man. It's somebody that you know is going to come in and play the run well. And like you said, take out those guards and stuff like that, man. He's just so physical, and that's what you really like about this game. You know that for sure. Like it's not like it's gonna be a question mark there. That is like he is gonna play the run well. Like it is not like something you could just think it's not gonna happen, or maybe it'll get worse. Like that's gonna be something he's gonna do really well. And but more about the passing game with him and figuring that out. But I think they're gonna kind of add some players around that can kind of maybe cover, or in the draft or whatever they plan on doing. It's gonna be interesting to see how they address some of these positions of the draft now. I mean, with the kind of holes that they have that they created a little bit themselves. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, what you showed on film is what I saw on film too.
Yeah. And I mean, the good news is too, like they are set up well to play like a lot of dime on third downs where they can take him out and maybe put a guy like Harper that we were talking about in the beginning at free safety, and then roll either Paul Lamau down or Jeremy Chin in the box, because as we showed last time, like Chin's pretty good at guarding tight ends and that kind of stuff. So like they do have options, but yeah, that's definitely going to be the big question mark. And I know Spillane wasn't great in coverage, but dude did have ball skills. He had, 5 picks in 2 years, and I think it was 11, if I remember correctly, passes defended. Like he made some plays on the ball where you can't expect that from Roberts.
Yeah,
especially at this stage in his career.
Yeah, definitely. Spillane was definitely a better at zone coverage. Let's say that.
Yeah, for sure.
Which I think that's important for linebackers, because you just don't see linebackers in man to man that much, because it's usually not a good matchup no matter what.
Yeah, very true. Yeah. And if you do see a linebacker in man coverage, they're probably not playing on first and second down. They really are just a big safety anyway.
Exactly. All right, bro. Let's do some. All right, so we start off with Eric Stokes. Like I said, in press coverage, he is pretty legit. He's legit in press coverage. See him right here. what I like about him is that he never opens the gate too early when he's in press. You see here, he does a good job staying square, right? And he's able to get his hands on the receiver here and being able to stay in his hip throughout the route. So he's right there all over him. Of course, the ball doesn't go that way. Spencer Rattler did not play very well this game, but you still see exactly what I'm saying. Like stay square, don't open the gate too early, and he just stays right in his hip. Up here, you see it right here, and it's just fluid. Looks so fluid in press coverage, and it's consistent here too. So here's another one against the Rams. Here in press, here coverage. Now the guy tries to hit him with the arm over. Does a pretty good job though, but he has the speed, right? Like I said, he's always staying in his hip right there. And the guy even gives him a little bit of a move here. You see it. His little fake move, and Stokes doesn't fall for it. Stafford tries to attack him. Like I said, he just threw at him the whole end of this game. But Stokes does a good job right there in coverage. So it's in press coverage. I mean, there's a lot of things that you really like about him, right? In press. And this is one of them. I kind of wish he got his head around. I don't know why he's, he kind of this is he only has one interception in like his in his career, and I think he had one interception in college. And he kind of can see the ball skills because instead of looking one way, he looks the other way. He probably would have picked that if he looked the right way.
Yeah.
All right, here you go against JSN. At the bottom here. And like I said, he always does a good job of staying square. Like you can see it right here. He's able to stay square, get his long arms on JSN, kind of get physical with him there. And he's able to just, like I said, stay in his hip throughout the route. He's right there. Watch one more time here. Like I said, it would always stay square in press coverage. And this is one of the reasons why he got drafted, because how much press coverage that Georgia was playing.
Yeah.
Why he got drafted in the first round there. You got the long arms. He's so physical with that speed. It's consistent with him in press coverage like that. All right, another one here. He has to get DK Metcalf. Like I said, Metcalf's coming inside. He still finds a way to stay square and get his hands on him, right? And it's a very lazy route for Metcalf, in my opinion. I mean, it's a sticks concept, and I get it. But, you see Stokes able to kind of stay right with him there on that opening. Also, I just want to say Ryan Grubbs, when I was watching everybody. This is why I hope Chip Kelly doesn't have that problem. Is just all these guys like running into each other like this. It's not good concept stuff. But even here, what I'm saying, you can still see how he's in press coverage. He's able to just stick with Metcalf, even though he's almost held him there. But it's consistent. I mean, if you can keep him in press coverage and he could come in and help you out, do some press coverage, he is pretty legit there. Like you see one more time, he's staying square, doesn't open the gate too early, gets his hands on Metcalf there. Of course, Smith ends up making a bad decision there under pressure. But you watch him at the bottom here. He's always just staying square, always in position there, gets his head around, getting physical with Metcalf. And like I said, this isn't the greatest route for Metcalf in the world, the greatest release, in my opinion. But you see how, with his long arms, how well he performs in press there. All right, here we go. And here this one, he gets another pass break up here against the Rams here. So even in this one, when he doesn't get his hands on him here, he's still able to impress because he stays square, right? He's able to kind of catch up with his speed right there and knock the ball out. So this is probably like a great rep by him, in my opinion, because even what they try to do is kind of create this kind of pick motion. He's able to stay over the top of that. And you can see he uses long arms and break up that pass. So to me, this is his best rep on film right here.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, this is his potential. Like, if you can get, it's just we'll see in a second. It just gets a little different when he's not in press coverage. So you see he's in press again here. Like I said, you see it one more time. He always stays square. He never opens the gate too early, right? He's square, right? Then the guy commits. Then he's right in the hip. he's right there. I mean, you can throw that ball deep. You don't have a chance to kind of get there. Of course, it ends up being a great concept here by the Rams. But you see what Stokes can do. He's just always square, always fundamentally sound in press coverage. Like it's just pretty much textbook stuff that he's doing over there. And he's a pretty good tackler too. One thing that he does pretty well is he doesn't say he's not a great tackler. I would say like he's not gonna like knock somebody's head off, but it's like sound. Like here, he just
there we go
now, right?
Yeah,
He gets this he wraps it up, and that's not nothing fancy here. Nice little cornerback tackle right there. That's how I used to tackle back in the day, Matt, when I was playing corner.
Yeah.
Not get off, man, but I was sound.
I have a feeling you're getting dragged the other way.
All right. Here's another one here. And this one is off coverage, but you can see him make a good tackle on this one. This is 3rd and 12 too. So that if he missed this tackle, they end up getting a first down, but he has to bring it down. Get a good tackle there, get him out of bounds.
That was good zone coverage. Perfect.
Yeah, right
Stays deep, rally the ball, make the tackle.
Yeah, he does pretty good in zone too. He has good zone eyes. You can kind of see it here. It would just turn around, make that tackle right there. Like I said, it's not physical. It wasn't the prettiest thing. He's twisting the guy around 3 times, but it got the job done. So he's not missing it. Let's say that. You know what I mean? It's for me to miss it. He's in the box a little bit on this one, which I like. I like how Charbonnet starts to go outside, but he's able to get back inside right there and get in on that tackle right there, make a good tackle. So it's things he does do well. Like here's another one, playing zone here, reading it, seeing the little check down. The guy ends up missing the tackle, but he ends up cleaning it up there, getting a good tackle there. Some good form tackling too. Right? Yeah, so you can tackle too as well. So I mean, so there is some things to like, but I kind of get into the off coverage issues here. So here you see him in off coverage is in the back pedal. Right. And go back a little bit here. And you see when they're on the break, right? Instead of just driving on the football like he should out of the back pedal, he starts to go backwards like this. See where his feet are wide like this. You don't want that as a DB. You you're in trouble. Because let's say that this was a good quarterback. No offense to Spencer Rattler. But let's say this is a good quarterback here. And he makes a better throw and it's not behind them like that.
Yeah.
And it's one of those issues there. And you kind of just, like I said, just see him going backwards there and then having the drive. And like you see the speed he can make up for a little bit, but it's not going to work against good quarterbacks. So here's another one here. This one, you can really see how a little bit of his awkwardness there. So you watch it real slow here. See, he just kind of like this weird step. The guy doesn't really even give him a route, but it looks like he just got worked.
Yeah.
Right. And it's just go ahead, Matt.
I was just say it's just not natural for him. Like you see how like his feet widen instead of like just kind of like chopping them and then driving out. Like it's just awkward for him.
Yeah, it's just mad awkward. And then, like I said, it ends up being a bad throw by Rattler, and he almost gets a pick. It just kind of shows his ball skills. I don't know how he didn't pick this off, but yeah, All right, so this plays a little embarrassing. This isn't one, but you can kind of see it again here on off coverage. Now this is a tough one because he's playing outside leverage, so I'll give him that. But even then, you see just how far backwards he goes before he comes forward, and it just opens this wide open there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like it's these type of things. Like if he's an off coverage, it's gonna get ate up. He looks like you talk about Cameron Richardson. That's what he looks like.
Yeah.
He's been in the league like 4 or 5 years. You know what I mean?
For sure.
And this one here, like you kind of see it. He's playing outside leverage, right? So he's playing the out route here, right? I mean, because this ended up being an out route from 88 here, and you see what happens here is that 88 stops at a dime here, is cut back outside, and he just whiffs on this.
Yeah.
He's on the ground. Complete whiff. And like it kind of shows a little bit how stiff he is because it's just to change the direction. And
that's that's brutal.
You know what I mean?
Maybe he has patient hips at the line of scrimmage because he can't actually move them.
Yeah. You might have a point there. And then like and even here he's in press coverage this time, but like it's just close to the goal line. Right, against Demarcus Robinson. And he just like I said, he doesn't you could already see it, right, Matt? He just
he
ends up slipping again. I don't know what's in his cleats. It's easy for Matthew Stafford here. Easy throw. And he's just like, I don't know. He's just like coordinated well. I wonder what his 3-cone was. Where's the error every time I watch this?
I think he didn't run it. Let me see.
Makes sense. Did he run the 3-code?
Let's see. I'm pulling it up right now. Oh, I don't know if he did any testing.
Interesting. He just ran a 40. Huh?
Oh no, he did do a 3-cone, but it was in the 44th percentile.
There you go. Yeah.
And the 20-yard shuttle was in the 11th percentile. So those are pro day numbers.
Woo! Yeah. So there you go. Like he's a little stiff. He's a little stiff. He's got some speed. Like I said, you get in his hips. You get the guy's hips, press coverage, long arms. It works, but off coverage is just not. It kind of points that out to me. It's like it's not always speed with corners too. There's got to be some more athleticism to you, and you really see it that just the athleticism that he has is just lacking a little bit in the outside, and that's where it becomes a struggle for him is when he's not in press coverage. I mean, I don't even know who 88 is. I have no idea who that guy is that was working him.
I think his name's Jordan Whittingham, if I remember correctly. He was like their blocking receiver, if I remember.
Was working him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the concern is that like you can't play press coverage all the time. Maybe if it's certain matchups that you like against certain teams, maybe he could come in there and you could play press coverage and it could work really well. But it's just not going to work long term with him playing man or playing any type of zone when he can't change directions like that. And it's just so awkward for him doing that. So that's the big issue with him.
Yeah. And I think part of it too is like when you're playing press, like part of what can like help you like, or part of a lot of the reason why you're good at press and not at something else is like in press coverage, you're forcing the receiver to kind of declare what route they're running off the line of scrimmage. So I think that's where he's at his best. Like the route against Robinson that was for the easy touchdown. Like it looked like to me like he was just guessing and like he didn't look comfortable playing off because as soon as Robertson broke for the inside, he followed him and then that just set up that little outside whip route. And I'm staring at it too. I'm like, you have help to the inside.
Yeah.
If anything, you just can't get beat to the outside. So part of me, like where I'm going with that is like I feel like maybe a little bit of like route recognition or something like that isn't quite there with him, where he's just like not comfortable. Like when he sees it, like he needs to know what it is from the jump, right? From the line of scrimmage moving on. Whereas like if he's sitting there if he's sitting there in off coverage, like waiting for the receiver to declare and letting the receiver kind of control the rep, like he's going to end up guessing and be out of position. And the same thing went with the out route that you showed in the middle of the field, where he kind of where he was in good position and then just kind of like lost it. But when he's in press, he's a little bit more comfortable. He's more comfortable playing from the trail position than he is on top of a guy, which is interesting. So yeah, it's funny. So I pulled up his spider chart on Mock Draftable, and one of the guys that pops up as like someone that's similar is to Cameron Richardson.
That's hilarious. That's funny. But yeah. I mean, like I said, like there's some things where he could be like a serviceable cornerback in the NFL. You just don't want him starting for you. Like as a depth piece, like as I said, if guys get hurt and Eric Stokes comes in, I don't feel that bad about it. It's just like I'm going into week 1 and Eric Stokes is the starting left quarterback. Like, whoo, man, that's a rough one for me. That's all I'm saying.
At first, like when you were first showing those clips and like him being like a good tackler and like being like physical and willing to mix it in the run game, at first I was sitting there thinking like, oh, maybe they do think they can move him inside and like he can have a future in there. And then I mean the stiff hips, I'm like, well, that's gonna be really hard to get to take advantage of on the inside. Like you kind of need to have fluid hips to play at that sport, and you can sacrifice some speed, which he's the opposite of that. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think he said he's probably more of the depth guy that you're just taking a flyer on. You know, the former first rounder that a lot of people were high on coming out of college, and just hoping that maybe he can turn it around with a change of scenery and finally live up to the potential. But yeah, at least he can play press, man. That's the if you're going to come off the bench, at least have a thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because I mean, if you look at his rookie year, I'm pretty sure that's probably when he played the most, when he had that kind of breakout rookie year that people so excited about. I bet he played a whole bunch of press coverage.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
You know, it's interesting though. You're talking about his ball skills, and I mean, I don't know. I guess this just got lost in the charting. Like, he had like 14 passes defended in his rookie season, and then has been credited with none since in the next 3 years. Which again, you showed the one where he very clearly had a PBU, so I don't know how that got missed. And part of it too is he battled injuries in his second and third years. But I'm like, that is the weirdest trajectory I think I've ever seen, to go from having 14 passes defended and then not a single one, but minus the one we showed or logged, I guess I should say, for 3 years. Wild. I don't think I've seen something like that before.
It was a great drop off for Eric Stokes. I mean, Packers fans probably like, we got Alexander, we got Stokes. It's about to be it just yeah. I don't know, man. All right, that's the show for today. Elandon Roberts and Eric Stokes. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Like I said, we're gonna be back to the draft this weekend, all this draft stuff, and then probably just draft from here on out. Get ready, as we got like a month left. Trying to grind through these guys and try to get through these players, start getting some of these rankings going here, and then we dropping those and getting ready for the draft, guys. Basically what we're doing here from here on out. So hit the subscribe button, subscribe. We are out of here. Peace.